George Segal Jr. was born on February 13, 1934, in New York City, the youngest of 4 children in a Jewish family whose grandparents had immigrated from Russia. Many people thought his father was a butcher, but in truth, George Segal Sr. was a malt and hop agent who supplied ingredients for beer. When George was only 13, his father died suddenly, forcing him and his mother Fanny to leave their home in Great Neck and return to New York City. Life in Great Neck had already been difficult. He faced anti-Semitic bullying, was once kicked down a flight of stairs, and even saw car tires slashed outside his synagogue. His family had already known loss. Years before he was born, his sister Greta had died of pneumonia, leaving a quiet sorrow that shaped his early sense of life's fragility. Segal's family also carried a legacy of political passion. His great-grandfather once ran for governor of Massachusetts as a socialist. After his father's death, George turned to music, first drawn to a friend's ukulele before moving on to the banjo, which became his lifelong instrument. He attended George School, a Quaker boarding school in Pennsylvania, where he first met Sonia Schultz, who would become his third wife half a century later. The school's calm atmosphere gave him confidence and discipline, qualities that stayed with him. His love for acting had begun even earlier at 9 years old, when he saw Alan Ladd in This Gun for Hire and felt a spark of inspiration. After graduating in 1951, Segal briefly attended Haverford College before being drafted into the Army during the Korean War. He later transferred to Columbia University, where he led a jazz band called the Red Onion Jazz Band, performing around New York City while studying performing arts and drama. His banjo skills often paid the bills when acting work was scarce. Drafted during the war, Segal was stationed on Staten Island, where he formed an army band called Corporal Bruno's Sad Sack 6. Instead of fighting, he lifted spirits with music and was even allowed to commute to Columbia to finish his degree, an unusual privilege. After his discharge, he trained at the Actors Studio under Lee Strasberg and Uta Hagen. He once said the experience was like joining the Marines, grueling but transformative. His professional debut came in 1956 as an understudy in The Iceman Cometh. That same year he married Marion Freed, who later became a film editor. Though he earned only $20 a week, the role gave him a start among talented peers like Jason Robards and Peter Falk. In the early 1960s, he joined an improvisational comedy group called The Premise in Greenwich Village, where he worked with Buck Henry. Their performances, mixing wit and politics, honed Segal's comedic instincts. Broadway soon called. In 1961, he appeared in Gideon opposite Frederick March. The play was a success, running for 236 performances and earning 4 Tony nominations. Columbia Pictures noticed him and signed him to a 5-year contract worth $75,000. His first film, The Young Doctors, 1961, earned him the Golden Globe for New Star of the Year, followed by The New Interns in 1964, which brought another Golden Globe as Most Promising Newcomer. Television roles in The Alfred Hitchcock Hour and Naked City showed his versatility, paving the way for his breakthrough in 1965's Ship of Fools. Segal's performance as a tormented artist in Ship of Fools earned critical praise and placed him among the era's rising stars. The same year he starred in King Rat, portraying a morally complex prisoner of war. But it was Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? In 1966 that made him an Oscar nominee for Best Supporting Actor. Acting alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton, he delivered one of his most powerful performances as Nick, the ambitious young professor caught in a night of psychological warfare. His next films, including The Quiller Memorandum and The St. Valentine's Day Massacre, confirmed his range, from cold espionage thrillers to violent historical dramas. By the early 1970s, Segal was one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. In Where's Papa? 1970, he shocked audiences with his daring humor, and that same year The Owl and the Pussycat, opposite Barbra Streisand, became a box office hit. In 1973 he starred in A Touch of Class with Glenda Jackson, a sophisticated romantic comedy that won him a Golden Globe for Best Actor. The film's success solidified his reputation as a charming leading man. A year later he delivered one of his finest performances in Robert Altman's California Split, a gritty gambling drama praised for its realism and depth. But after several successful years, Segal's career took a turn. His 1976 comedy western The Duchess and the Dirtwater Fox flopped badly, hinting that his star power was fading. The real blow came in 1978 when he was cast in Blake Edwards' Tin, a film expected to be another major hit. On the first day of filming, Segal simply didn't show up. Edwards replaced him with Dudley Moore, sued him for $270,000 and won. The film went on to make over $74 million, while Segal's reputation for unreliability spread through Hollywood. His career as a leading man was effectively over. Behind the scenes, Segal's personal life was unraveling. His marriage to Marion ended in divorce in 1983 after 27 years. They had 2 daughters, Elizabeth and Polly, and the split left him deeply shaken. Around the same time, his drug use and emotional instability were affecting his work. He admitted later that he had become self-destructive, consumed by ego and addiction. His roles in the early 1980s, The Last Married Couple in America, Carbon Copy with Denzel Washington, failed to revive his career. Critics found the films awkward and dated, and Hollywood moved on to younger, safer stars. By the mid-1980s, Segal's fortunes had collapsed. He went from earning $1 million per film to just a fraction of that, working mostly in forgettable movies and short-lived TV series like Take 5 and Murphy's Law. He once described himself as a used car nobody wanted to buy. Yet his love for music kept him grounded. In 1982, while performing at Carnegie Hall, he met Linda Rogoff, a music manager who had worked with the Pointer Sisters. He serenaded her during his show, and soon they fell in love. They married in 1983 and shared 13 years together until tragedy struck. In 1992, Linda developed a sore throat and was mistakenly given penicillin despite being allergic. The medical error led to years of complications and her death in 1996. Segal was devastated, calling it a senseless mistake. For a time, he withdrew from the spotlight. Then, unexpectedly, he reconnected with his high school sweetheart, Sonia Schultz, after 45 years apart. Their first conversation lasted 6 hours, and soon they were inseparable. They married in September 1996, and Segal credited her with saving his life. Together they built a peaceful life in Sonoma County, California, where he found stability and contentment at last. Even in his later years, Segal never stopped performing. In 1997, he returned to